Alright, let's go ahead and continue working on InDesign Chapter 3, working with masters. Now that we've created this master, we're going to go ahead and start putting it into place. Right now, if we look at our Pages panel, if it's not open, go ahead and click over here on the right-hand side to your Pages. We see that everything is labeled A, which means we know that the A master has been applied to everything. Now everything's A. So what we're going to do is I want pages 4 and 5 to have a different layout. I want them to have that B layout. So I'm going to go ahead and go up to my masters. I'm going to grab B. I'm going to drag it down on both sides. So now my pages 4 and 5 both have the B master. I also know that I don't want my very first page to have any kind of master at all because it's going to be my cover. It doesn't need to have a lot of that information. So I can go to my flyout menu, the hamburger patty up here, go to Apply Master to Pages, and on page 1 I want to apply the None Master. You can also do that by dragging just as we did before. So now what if we decide we need to add more pages? Let's go ahead and go to our menu, Insert Pages. We want to go ahead and insert 6 pages after page number 4 and hit OK. So now I have got a 14-page document. Pages 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 have no master because we chose no master. So now we can decide to rearrange some of those pages. Say you want page 12 now to be in the middle of this white space. If you grab and hold, go up to where you want to move it, see how we get a black line. Right now the little square is to the right, which means it's going to put that page to the right. If I nudge it just a little, it goes to the left, which means it's going to put it right there. So you kind of have a choice as to where you're going to put it. I'm going to go ahead and put it over on the left. So now I have a new page 9. I know it's different, and it pushed all the other pages down. I know it's different because this one has a guide applied and the others do not. I don't really want to do that, so I'm going to go ahead and push Control-Z and undo it. I can decide I have too many pages. I don't really want that many. I'm going to go ahead and go to 5. I'm going to hit Shift and go to 6 so I can select multiple pages. I'm going to go ahead and hit the trash can down here, which says Delete Selected Pages. So now I've got 4 extras in the middle. I'm going to turn these 4 extras into a postcard, which means I need to change the size of the page. Right now, if I look at page 5, it is a regular size page. I go 6, 7, also regular 8.5 by 11 size pages. So we're going to go ahead and grab the Pages tool, which is over here on the left. We're going to go to 5, we're going to shift click and go to 8. So we're saying apply this to all of these pages in between. Over in our control panel up here, we want our width to be 36. And we want our height to be 25.6 P6. So if you look at your Pages panel right now, you see that the page has changed, but you don't necessarily see that it's a smaller page. If you go ahead and look at your document, View, Fit, Spread, and Window, you can tell that we have actually made a much smaller document over here on the side. Now, we don't necessarily want to have these same margins and things applied to our postcards, so we're going to go ahead and get rid of those. We're going to go ahead and go to Layout, Margins and Columns, and right here we have quite a few different options of things we want to change. So we want to make sure that we have our Make Everything the Same is turned on so that we change it all at once. So we want to go ahead and make 1 P6 for the top. And when I click out, notice how it changed that all the way around. And we only want 1 column. If I click here, I'm going to get multiple. I'm going to go ahead and click down to get 1 column. So now I have a different setup for my postcard than I do everything else. I'm going to say OK. So now we need to go ahead and look at our page numbering. Right now our postcard is getting counted in the page numbers, which we don't necessarily want. We want our page numbering to pick back up where our publication actually does. So we're going to go up here to our numbers and section options. We want start section, we want start numbering at page 1. So we want to start it renumbering. We want to go ahead and make it do Roman numerals instead so we can tell for sure what's going on. And we're going to say OK. Now you'll notice that we got a little triangle that appears. That shows us that there is a change in section happening right here. Now notice that every single page after page 5 has switched, which isn't necessarily what we want. So we want to go ahead and go down to the V and change it back to regular numerals. So grab to our fly up menu, numbers. We want to go ahead and start numbering at page 5. And we want to make sure it flips back the regular numbers and say OK. So now I have 1 through 4, I have Roman numerals, and then I have 5 through 8. Let's go ahead and push Control S and save what we've got so far. Alright, so now what do we need to do? We need to actually start putting some information into our publication itself. We're going to go ahead and jump up to page 2. Notice we're going to go back to our selection tool. We've got our placeholders in place from when we created our master. We can't click on these items because they're part of the master themselves. If I shift click, I can select it and play with the items, but we don't want to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and click outside. So we're going to go ahead and start putting some of the pre-created content in here. So I'm going to go up to File, I'm going to go to Place. I'm going to grab Article 1 and say Open. I want to go ahead and put it in this first section. Now notice how my loaded cursor changes. If I'm outside, I get kind of a square. If I go in, I get parentheses. The parentheses says, hey, I see that what you're doing is putting it into a box that's already here. So I'm going to go ahead and push Place. And let's go ahead and put it in right for us. So now we can do multiple at once if we want to. So let's go File, Place. And I'm going to grab, let's go and see my pictures. I'm going to grab Article 2. I'm going to hit Control. I'm going to hit Graphic 1, which is the bird and the butterfly. So now I've got all 3 of those. It's highlighted. So now you'll see I've got my loaded cursor again. The first thing it's showing me that I have in my loaded cursor is the article. The article I know I want to put here on the second page, so I'm going to go ahead and click there. Now it's showing me the next thing I have to place is the egret. So I know I want to put that in this box, so I'm going to click. And I have left is the butterfly. Now they fit perfect, everything is awesome because everything was already ready to go. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and push save so I don't lose it. Alright, so we're going to place one more snippet. Let's go File and Place. And I'm going to grab snippet number 2. Snippet number 2 has the rest of the publication in it. So I want to go ahead and place it. I'm going to set it so it starts outside of this page so it knows where to place those other elements. So that's pretty cool. And now we've got those pages put together. I'm going to clip outside and say Save. So what's one of the next things we need to do? We need to replace this placeholder text. You see how it says placeholder text up here? That's not really doing us any good. So we want to go ahead and do our Shift Control and click to get into the screen one that says placeholder text. And we want to go ahead and make it say egrets. If I could spell, it'd be awesome. And herons. And I'm going to make sure I've got my text tool selected. I'm going to go over here. Once again, I can't select that placeholder text until I do Shift Control and click at the same time. And now I'm going to change it to monarch butterflies. So you can see how you can save yourself a lot of time by making sure that you've created all of those other elements in those guides. Now let's look ahead and look at, we talked about bleeds earlier and whether or not it's going to print to the edge. I'm going to go ahead and grab my zoom tool. I'm going to zoom in. If you notice right here, my nest right here is not actually going to print to the edge. In order to make that print to the edge, we've got to make it actually go out to this red line. So I'm going to go ahead, grab my selection tool, click on my image, grab the bar, and I'm going to drag it outside. So now, when they cut this paper, it will actually go to the full length, which is what we want. Let's go check the other side. See, the butterfly is way outside the line. It'll have no problem stretching from one end to the other. Alright, so if we look at the top, we see this one has a little bit of problems too. So let's go ahead and go up to our master. Let's grab our placeholder text box and drag it so it's a little bit bigger than our bleed line. That'll make sure that it goes and has full color. This one is way too small as well. So let's take it and make it a little bit bigger. So now, Control minus, if we go down to our page 2, which we created, we can see everything's going to be a full bleed. We've got it all put in place, and everything looks awesome. We can go ahead and see our completed spread. Go up here to our view options and go to preview and see our amazing newsletter that we put together. Alright, you're not done quite yet. You need to go File and Package, and we want to go ahead and package it. Go ahead and save it. Go ahead, continue. Make sure I'm putting it in my lesson 3, and it's going to be both the first initial, last name, classroom in a book, InDeisgn, classroom in a book, chapter 3, packaged. I'm going to go ahead and put it out here so I know where to find it. And okay. Go ahead and package it. Then you're going to go ahead and make sure you turned in that package file to Canvas. You're going to want to come back to this chapter when it comes to setting up masters. It will save you a whole lot of time and energy to create the document right the first time.